Trying new recipes on things that maybe you have been purchasing previously is always a fun thing, especially if you can use up things you already have around the house and not have to pay the inflated prices that we're seeing right now. I promised you some new recipes this fall, so let's make our house smell wonderful and let's make some frugal treats that your family's going to love.
We're going to make some homemade apple cider, which will make our house smell wonderful. Now, I've got 5 apples that needed used up. I just cored those and covered them with water. I added 2 teaspoons of allspice, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a quarter of a cup of white sugar, along with 2 tablespoons. And now we're going to bring this to a boil. Now that it's boiled for an hour, we're going to turn this down and let it simmer for 2 more hours. I strained off the apple cider and I put the cooked apples in here. You could smash them up and make applesauce, but I tried them and they're delicious just the way they are as baked apples. Now, if you wanted to make a bunch more for your family, you're going to need more than 5 apples, but that's what I had and it's enough for the 2 of us. I've been taking on some little projects around the house, and I took all of my beans and I put them in my empty jars just to make them more pleasing to the eye, and I just love this. Now, these on the end are old antique ketchup bottles. I don't know if you remember when they used to have ketchup in those. I made these as bookends years ago by just measuring and putting them in there so that they matched. Here is, I think, an old tea bottle and another one on the end. Let me know what you think. I just think this is so cool. But then again, I like old stuff.
Speaking of old stuff, do you remember, those of you that grew up in the era that I did, how we used to keep things in cigar boxes? Now, this may be more of a boomer thing. I'm Gen X, but I was raised like a boomer. But my sister in law made this for me for one of my birthdays when I was young. Now, if you gave this to a kid nowadays, they'd say, "Where's the real present?" Right? But when I grew up, simple things like this brought so much joy. And for me, they still do. She was very crafty. I've shared some of the things with you before that she's made for me, but this was made out of a cigar box. And then she cut this out. It looks a little rough now because it's been stored so long, probably 50 more probably 50 plus years. But she made this for me and she covered it with like shellac. And then the inside, look, she put 2 reused birthday cards and glued those on to support the seam. And they said, "Happy birthday." And I ran across this as I was decluttering, as so many of us are. And it had some of my old ribbons from track in there. And then look at this. Look at this jewel that is from way back when in the 70s when a lot of us grew up. So I just had to share that with you. I treasured stuff like this that was given to me. And this became like a keepsake box for many of us. But I just thought this was so original back in the day. And gifts like this were treasured when I grew up. We had so little, but the things we had, we took good care of. As you can see, I still have this at 58. I still use cookbooks. In fact, I have a couple of Depression era cookbooks that I have written myself to preserve recipes from my family that are in the description box if you're interested. But trying new recipes can really help stretch your food budget. Sometimes we get tired of the old favorites, sometimes we don't, and that's a good thing. But rotating some stuff in there that can save us some money by using ingredients that we already have on hand is the best way to stretch our dollar. And sometimes those old fashioned cookbooks are key to that. But I find that a lot of people now look online for recipes, and sometimes those recipe sites are promoting new products, they're promoting advertisements. So I really like to use the old fashioned hard copy cookbook. Now, in this next video, I'm going to share another recipe with you that is a keeper recipe. In fact, this will be the second time I've made this year, and it requires water bath canning.
October is National Caramel Month. You probably didn't know there was one, but there is. So today we're going to make some caramel sauce to keep in our pantry. We're going to start with 5 cans of sweetened condensed milk. Any brand will do. This is from the Dollar Tree, $1.25 a can. You can't beat that for stock up prices. We're also going to need salt and vanilla and some canning jars. Now, last time I made these in pint jars. They were a little big for what I needed, so I'm going to use the jelly jar size this time, but we're going to water bath can these, and they're going to be super, super easy. So let's start by getting these mixed into our bowl. We have emptied our sweetened condensed milk into a bowl, and now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of vanilla and a teaspoon of salt and mix that together really well. And if you hear Yogi, the cat, fussing in the background, it's because she seems to think that every time the can opener is used, that there will be tuna juice for her. I keep trying to tell her not every can is tuna, but she doesn't believe me. So we're going to mix this all together, and then we are going to ladle it into our jelly jars. And you're going to want to leave about 1 inch of headspace in all of the jars as you fill them. Now that we have all of them filled, we are going to go around the top with just a little bit of vinegar and make sure that our rims are clean so that the jars will seal. Then we are going to put on our lids and just put them on finger tight. Then you just want to put the jars in your crock pot, cover them with water, and put it on low for about 8 to 10 hours until you get the consistency that you want. This is mine from last year, and I put it in my hot coffee.
Being creative with some of these things, like I just showed you, that are sitting in our pantry or starting to go bad in our little fruit basket, are some of the ways that I'm saving money since I retired at the end of October last year. I'm coming up on my first full year of retirement. And one of the things that I've learned is that I need a lot less than I thought that I did. It is so easy to make food stretch now that I have the time and the energy to do these sorts of things. There were times I would go shopping because I was looking for something quick and easy to throw together when I was working. And now that I'm home, I have the time to look around and say, wow, I have months worth of food here because I've learned how to stretch it. I've learned new recipes that I can stretch my food with. And I don't need to go to the store near as often as I used to. And even when I do go to the store, I just don't need that much stuff to go with the things that I already have. I've already started picking up a few things here and there for the Thanksgiving holiday. The pumpkin I found at Aldi and Walmart between $1.15 and $1.19 a can for the off brand, which is a really good deal. I also picked up mini marshmallows at Aldi for 95 cents. Some of the things haven't started to go on sale yet, but I've already made a list of a possible menu and took inventory and looked at the things that I still need, and I've put them on my list so I can start watching for them when they go on sale. These are some of the things that I do to stretch my budget for my groceries, and it is so much easier than I thought it was going to be before I retired. Even with inflation, I know that I have to be careful because things cost so much, but I have more time to figure out how to stretch the stuff that I already have here. So I hope that some of these videos are helpful to you, especially if you're on a fixed income or if you're a busy mother or a busy father and you're rushing around trying to figure out what you can throw together with what you have in your house, and maybe you're on a limited income trying to make that mortgage payment and that car payment. The things that we make on this channel are super cheap. They're still nutritious and they are affordable. And many times we're just using things that might end up getting thrown out. I hope that this was helpful to you today. If you enjoy these kind of videos, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you will stick around. I hope you will subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.